Question number 9, the Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Attorney-General and asks, is it government policy through the proposed Marine and Coastal Area Takutai Moana Bill to enable the Minister responsible to recognise customary marine title by agreement with an applicant group? If so, which parts, if any, of New Zealand's foreshore and seabed could not be applied for under the proposed Act?
The Honourable Maurice Williamson.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Attorney-General, yes, the Marine and Coastal Area Bill provides for customary title to be recognised either by a recognition order of the High Court or by agreement with the Crown after the agreement is given effect by an order in Council. In regards to the second element of the member's question, any part of the Marine and Coastal Area that was part of a private title could not be subject to an application.
The Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can the Minister tell the House of any other precedent, either within New Zealand or in any other Westminster jurisdiction, that would enable a Minister of the Crown to transfer valuable title to private groups without involving the courts, Parliament, or indeed public scrutiny?
The Honourable Maurice Williamson.
Mr Speaker, I doubt if you could see precedent for this anywhere else in the world, as there are treaty obligations under the Treaty of Waitangi, and New Zealand is the only country for which the treaty applies.
The Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Does the Minister accept that when we have treaty settlements that shift property and title to iwi groups, it is those settlements are brought before the House and indeed Select Committee for public scrutiny and ratification by the Parliament, and yet when it comes to the foreshore and seabed, a Minister by private treaty in his or her office can sign the deal with no public scrutiny and no oversight by the Parliament?
The Honourable Maurice Williamson.
Mr Speaker, yes, but this bill does not restrict the rights of groups to seek customary marine title in the common marine and coastal area. It does, however, have very strict conditions. In order to successfully obtain recognition of customary marine title, the applicant group must prove that it has had exclusive use and occupation of that area since 1840 without substantial interruption, and that the area has been held in accordance with tikanga. This will obviously rule out many parts of marine and coastal area.
Point of order, the Honourable Rodney Hyde. Order. Point of order, the Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Mr Speaker, it's very interesting to hear about the thresholds, and no doubt there'll be more questions upon that.
What's the member's point of order?
That did not address the question of the difference between treaty settlements that are brought to Parliament for scrutiny and why it isn't applying in this particular case.
The member can repeat his question, because I do accept the point he makes. That was a very particular question. I invite him to repeat it.
Thank you. I won't get it exactly accurate, Mr Speaker, but I'll do my best. Does the Minister accept that when it comes to treaty settlements where valuable title is transferred across to iwi or other groups, they are brought to Parliament for public scrutiny and indeed Select Committee for public input, and the deal has to be ratified by the Parliament? But then, in this proposed bill, when it comes to our valuable foreshore and seabed, the deal can be done in the Minister's office without public scrutiny, with no oversight by Parliament. And why wouldn't the Minister accept that there's a proper role for Parliament and the public?
The Honourable Maurice Williamson.
Mr Speaker, when the member asked that principal question last time, I replied as my very first word, yes, because the question said, do I accept that there's a difference between the regime for treaty settlements and the regime for this? My answer was absolutely specific. Yes, I do accept that.
The Minister's definitely answered the question. Question number 10, the Honourable David Parker.